Lakshmi Manchu is hanging with me, and I'm just very, very pleased because incidentally, I've just come off the back of seeing this wonderful short film in which she's just nailed it out of the park, knocked it out of the park, nailed it, call it what you may. But let's
Yeah.
start with something even more important because it has a social connotation to it. How are you doing? Most importantly, are your daughter, your family, you all safe and healthy? I mean, in the midst of a pandemic, that's something we need to ask each other.
Oh, I've been so blessed and so grateful. We are all doing very well and very healthy. Thank you for asking. Yes, you are very right. This is an awesome time to be alive. Yeah, just
True.
being alive is plenty.
You're going to undertake a century ride. That's 100 kilometers of cycling. Ah, but it's
What
all for
was
a
I
good cause. Yeah, but
thinking?
what are you
Nobody
thinking?
asked me. I know. When it was very beautiful and very the morally and aesthetically and ethics wise, everything was so nice when I thought of it and conceptualized it in my brain. And then when I sat on the bike and did my first 10 kilometers, and after my bum was like, what are you thinking? But I could have done 10 kilometers and still raised the money, no? Over into cutlet that I am, that I had to do 100. So it's next 28th. I'm freaking out. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I wake up every morning because of the cause, and I feel like, okay, that would have been a tick. That will be a tick that I've done something pushing beyond my physical capabilities.
Now, Aditya Mehta is somebody that the whole country should know more about. I mean, I know he's based out of Hyderabad. He's a double Asian Olympic champion, but he's also an amputee. When did you
Yes.
first meet this extraordinary athlete, and how did you feel you needed to contribute to his foundation, whatever little way or big way?
6 years ago, he was doing this infinity ride from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And through another friend of mine, she was like, why don't you give a bite? Like, I do a lot of those for many causes. And then I was just amazed at him and his enthusiasm and his zeal for life and how there is never a sad moment. I mean, he and I got to get on the bike and gossip about everything in the world, like, and in a very, like, there's nothing wrong with him in his life kind of a thing. And here I am, I wake up in the morning and I have so many things I have to deal with, and looking at him and doing that ride just like removes everything, not just a little bit but everything, because not just how he lives his life, but how he has created space for many people like him and give them hope. And when you talk to these people now, you realize that in their own homes they don't have that kind of empowerment and push that they usually get, that they should get, that they get at Aditya Mehta Foundation. And it's just not cycling, but shot put and all kinds, table tennis, badminton, like his
Shooting.
facilities,
Yeah. Mm.
shooting. I was like, what do you call this? So archery and any kind of sport. So it's not, so I really thought, nothing gives you a zeal for life when you're playing a sport, even with everything working for you. Go find a sport to play is what we always tell people. And here he has this facility and he works with all the five different police outlets like the BSF and CRPF and our police officers and all the other Jawans who've lost their lives in the front lines. And like everybody, this pandemic has hit him pretty hard. And this was also like for his infinity ride that he was talking about it. And then I said, did you make the money that you wanted to? And he was like, no. I said, okay, I've been wanting to do 100-kilometer ride. Let's bring this both together. And I promised him 5 lakhs to raise 5, and we've hit 6 so far. So
Wow.
we've already raised that money, and I'm hoping there will be more angels that come through this way. And it's more about creating an awareness, because I could have called my celeb friends and said, send me a lakh, send me a lakh. But it was more about those 1,000 rupees that come your way. So people are more aware of a foundation like this because it's the continued support that they need.
So anybody who's watching this or listening to this, can they just go online and search for the Aditya Mehta Foundation and
Yes,
go to the website
absolutely.
and then just donate? Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And I believe you're flagging off on the 28th. That's when you're
Yes.
actually doing the cycling run itself.
Yes, the Chief Secretary for IT, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, has been kind enough to wake up early in the morning and give us a flag off at 5 a.m.
No,
So
but
we're
really,
very
I
excited.
have to say this, Lakshmi. I mean, in Bombay, we pride ourselves on being the first at many, many things. But you look at the kind of stuff that's happening in Telangana, in Andhra, in Hyderabad. With Gopichand doing what he's doing for badminton, Sania doing what she's doing for tennis, and now not just for mainstream athletes, what Aditya is doing for para athletes. I
Yes.
think it's remarkable, and all of you it's so wonderful that you support these causes. Coming back to the amputees, you say that you've been cycling with Aditya. I spoke to Mansi Joshi, who is a badminton player, who's an amputee, and she was talking about how difficult it is, even though technology has made sure that they have better, legs and things like that. Sometimes, there's bleeding, there's discomfort, and how much they have to go through. So I think if we raise funds for them to get better technology for their
Yeah.
prosthetic leg, I think that must be the attempt here, to
Yes.
try and get
Yes.
them better prosthetic legs and hands.
Yes. And just equipment, gym equipment, and a Terra gun will go a long way for them, because I realized just getting a foam roller, which is 10,000 rupees, okay? But it was such a necessity for me, because you have to like release those muscles when you do endurance biking. And these little things can go a long way for them. And there are a lot of angels around our country, and I really wish this reaches their ears, so they can really be a helping hand to them, because they do all the work. I wish I could set up a foundation like that and do as much as he does. I wouldn't be able to do it. So what I can do is support them, and what I can do is I do it with my NGO for Teach for Change. But this is just me supporting Aditya's foundation.
That's lovely. Okay, now let's come to Pitta Kadalu. I hope I've pronounced it right. Uh,
Pitta Katalu, yes.
yeah, and I have to say this. I have very honest confession. Shruti and me are related. We're cousins. So, she said, you've got to watch this. I started watching
அப்போ
it for
தமிழ் நீங்க?
Bombay Tamil. உங்க மாதிரி
Oh,
சுத்தமா தமிழ் பேச முடியாது, but I'm a Bombay Tamil. So,
ஐயோ, சூப்பரா பேசுறீங்க நீங்க. Okay, okay.
you must have grown up in Madras, isn't it? I mean,
Born and
Madras then,
raised.
born and raised, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So Shruti said, you've got to watch this, that. I started watching it for her, and then I said, wait a minute, maybe I should check out some of the other stories,
Oh,
instead of
yay.
just going to her story. And then I saw Ramulu, and Ramula, and I was just completely stunned by your
Right.
performance, by this
Oh,
little girl, Meghna, her performance, and how stunning were you? And I think more than that, I think it's just the sisterhood of it. The fact
yeah,
that there is this politician who's there in a male-dominated world, but she's badass. She's not
yeah.
willing to cow down. That must be very, very meaningful for you to have a part like that.
Oh, you have no idea what this role meant to me. Um, she plays a politician, but as an actor, I still go through the same thing. And I give this example all the time, saying, now there is Shruti Hassan. You know what I mean? When I wanted to come into films, it wasn't accepted. And Shruti was able to come because her dad is Kamal Hassan. He
Yeah.
gives more value to art than if you're a male, female, or anything in between. She could have been a dog for all that mattered, and his own puppy saying, "I want to act." He'll be like, "Let me teach you how to do it." So I wish she was born 20 years ago, because she would have paved way for so many more actresses who are heroes' daughters to come into the industry. Because it's okay for an actress's daughter to come into the industry, but not an actor's daughter. There's still such a stigma around it. And I think it was Shruti and me really that were trailblazers in the South. And we strongly hold this for ourselves. So we hope many more actresses can stand on our shoulders. Many more actors' daughters and people from the industry can stand on our shoulders.
Yeah, and the part itself, It reminded me of, classic Rajni sir films, except there is not Rajni sir, but, she getting out with her glasses and things like that. And it's not an
Yeah,
easy thing to do. A short film gives you very few minutes for you to
yeah.
stand out. So layers that you added as opposed to layers that were there in the story and the screenplay and the director. I want to know, apart from you playing it, were all those layers added on by you? It's fantastic. Put on
I
those
had
glasses, do
to.
this. Woof.
And even those glasses, they had 3 or 4 different ones. And I was like, I really have to give credit to Lata, who's the production designer, the wife of the director. I'll tell that last as the wife of the director, but she's the production designer and the costume designer. And we took like 3 or 4 different look tests because, she wanted that manjal on the cheeks. The different, when you come from rural Telangana, they do pierce the ears on the top there. So these little subtleties, even if you could see or not, it's not like there is a close up of this or a close up of this. She is a person in a place, and short stories, start off in the middle. Then there is no character establishment. She comes from this family. Her life was this, and here she is. It's none of that. It starts off in the middle, and I had to bring all that for people to realize, oh, okay, she really comes from the bottom and she's made her way till this place. And um even when I was sitting down, my subtext was she's a cock ready to fight. So when you see cocker fights, they have these feathers ruffled, like they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there but my shoulders were tight and I'm ready to go. Like, so even when I get out of the car, I don't bend or, it's always like, and these are things that when you inculcate, camera is the most beautiful, magical thing that sees what you think. You don't have to say it. What you think it captures. So I since being a theater actor, I know the value of words on stage and I know the value of silence on camera.
Wow.
So I really love bringing silence and emoting. I want to show, not tell on camera. And it really means a lot that you notice that, because, even when I'm cutting my apple, that was something I brought in. And when do I go in? It's like, the analogy of, Adam and Eve, and, the way I give her the apple, at what point it's like, here, I'm offering you the fruit, the sweet fruit, but then you don't know what's going to go that way, and that was my thing that I brought in. And when I talk about the garlands and I'm like, folding the napkin,
Yeah.
that Tarun came up, and because, I was riling, ready to go. He's like, no, I want you to feel all you're feeling while you do the napkin, fold your handkerchief. I said, sure, definitely. Even if I'm sitting and, fanning myself. So these little things, because as you said, you have very little time. And you don't know what's going to get chopped off in the edit, so you got to come in with your guns loaded. So that's
And even when Akka's on stage, when she's on stage, she's been called much later than all the MCPs. But
yes,
she's there, and she's seething.
yes.
She doesn't say anything. There's a lot of subtext in there, but just remarkable performance. I mean, I can't
The
speak
way I
enough
move
of it.
my mouth without saying,
Yeah, correct.
So go on the po, we pull our lojo, no, mafanne. But you don't say it. You just
Yeah.
see that with that smile underneath it, But I loved it.
Lovely. I'm sure you're reading so many scripts. People want to sign you up all the time, and these are great times for actors, because irrespective of what language it is, OTTs is taking it to all parts of the globe. And
Yes.
I just hope, as a fan of yours, I get to see more and more. It'd be
Oh
wonderful.
my God, thank you. Thank you.
I've also been coming back to life with Lakshmi. And
I do what you do there.
much better, might I add. And then I've been catching a bit of Rana trying to do comedy. So actually, it's quite interesting. It's quite funky. It's cool, and it's nice that you as friends are collaborating. But to me, I think the master stroke was the fact that you got Frank Coraci. I mean, this is a guy who, all those wonderful Adam Sandler films,
Yeah.
Wedding Singer, Blended.
Yes.
Just great. Are you buddies from your days in LA, or did you just reach out to him and said, I want to do this?
He's very good friends with friends of mine. And I tell you about people in Hollywood and in America, you just have to ask.
Wow.
You just, they are all there. They're all readily available. If they have the time and they can, sure, I'll do that. It's never a no. It's never like, who am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? And I had the opportunity to meet him only a few times when I was in LA. That also only last year. Not even last year, a couple of years ago. Last year doesn't count. So 2019, and we instantly hit it off. And then the next thing I know, I'm writing to him saying, will you please kindly, he's like, his parents were taken into hospital and there was a COVID scare, and he still said yes because he committed to the time, you know.
Wow.
It's just incredible. And yeah, can you imagine Frank Karachi and Rajamouli in one
I was going to
frame,
say
and I'm
that.
sitting
You
there
actually
going,
segued into my next question. I was like, you know, one is getting Frank separately. You could have done one episode with him and one with Rajamouli. You know, I'm sure y'all are friends, you're collaborators. But the fact that you threw them both in, you know,
yes,
that
yes.
made that experience so wonderful for me. I mean, because here are these two remarkable filmmakers, yet completely different, but in sync, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And how they adored each other's work, and you know, and I love that I didn't make it just question and answer, and I had like an elevator pitch that both of them had to do. And I had a blast with it.
And you know that you're the envy of half the world, male or female, that Sendil Ramamurthy was on your show.
Hello, hello. I know.
How many of your girlfriends or even boyfriends, you know, who are not straight, called and said, when are we getting the intro? He is quite a hunk.
He really is. And he's a charmer. He speaks and you're just like, oh, I can just listen to you speak, you know. And him and I go back like 15 years. We did a short film together for a thesis film for a friend of his, a director friend of his. And we've been friends since. And you know how I hit him up? On Insta saying, dude, I'm doing this. And he's like, Lucky, where have you been? Of course, we'll do this. And yeah, so it's just me reaching out to my friends and saying, will they do this? Because it was the pandemic and I was getting bored. I was like, all right, what can we do to bring this world together? Because there was too many things that were happening to separate us, and too much hate and black and white and Trump and just things that were happening here, life and death. And, you know, everybody was fighting tooth and nail for everybody. And for me as an artist, you know, from way back when, even when people went into war, it was theater that brought people together in one place, irrespective of their caste, creed, and sect, that they could all come and forget their worries for a minute when they saw these plays, you know. So for me, that's a very big thing as an artist. I feel like we should bring hope. And I was really satisfied with what I was able to do with coming back to life.
And Lakshmi, even, you know, Taapsee is very freely available in the media, in the sense she does lots of interviews, especially when her films are out in this and that. But you tapped into something very unique with Taapsee. You know, it was almost as though it was two, you know, buddies just hanging out, having a cup of coffee in a barista or something like that. So, you know, I thought the Taapsee one, and then do you follow tennis closely? The fact that not at all. That must have been tough to do then.
Yeah, Prakash and Sanya are good friends. So I was like, guys, if I say something wrong. Yeah,
just great stuff. Yeah, and Chitti Chilakamma, this other thing that you're doing, this is it. I find that your daughter's part of that. Would you tell us a little bit about that, please?
So I had to cross 7 mountains and 7 seas and 7 forests to have my child, you know. And then she was handed over and said, all the best. I was like, okay, now what do I do with it, you know? And then I read every book that there was on parenting, and I have a very dear friend who works in a school, and she's a Montessori child expert. Child development expert. And, you know, every time I had something that I was a little challenged with, I would call her. And then as time kept going on, I realized I would go to a kid's birthday party and start handling the kids there. I would have friends' kids come over and I would start handling. And there were things that their parents couldn't deal with. I would say, give me 5 minutes with them and take them aside. And I would be able to, like, I became almost like a child whisperer, you know? And I was like, wow, where did this come from? And I said, and I was able to communicate with my kid even before she started speaking, like she wanted milk or she was hungry or she had tummy pain, through actions, because, with fine motor skills. And I said, oh my God, anybody has access to it if they know English. They should just be interested. But then I really thought there was a dearth of this for my own people, Telugu speaking people. And we're all nuclear families now. My grandmother raised me, and anything problem, my amama was there. But now my mom's busy with her husband, she lives far off. So it's not as hands-on as easily as we were raised. So, and both parents are working now. Now it's like, shoo, shoo, shoo. But making it okay, like if we are on this live recording and if my daughter needed something, I will put you on hold, because if I don't handle that right now and then, I'm feeding her into that bad habit of whatever it is that's bothering her. But if I give her those 5 minutes, she knows mommy is available no matter what, and her frustration is taken care of. These little things that we are so easily taken for granted because we are, hey, Sumare, hey, be quiet. Like this, okay, we somehow made it, and we're doing okay. But we know that there is a different way of raising these beautiful children. And so bringing more awareness and consciousness into parenting is what I wanted to do, and cater it to our Indian parents, about the value of our mother tongue or how to deal with emotions. Because I'm sure you and I are still fighting how to really express what we feel, and give them that equipment and that empowerment. So she'll say, Amma, I am upset, but give me 5 minutes. And she's 6 years old. So to be able to give her those tools, I feel like it's very important. So we can do this better with each other if we can communicate. So that was the bottom line. And then Soumya, who was the child development expert, she was like, sure, let's do this. So we didn't want to, again, make it into another channel because then it's restricted. So we brought it onto YouTube. I produced it and I produce it. So, and now here we are, and everywhere I go, everybody thanks me so much for that. A lot of parents thank me. So I feel like a motherhood community that I've just brought together.
Listen, in your days in LA, you were on Desperate Housewives, you were on Las Vegas.
You've done your research. Look
no,
at
but
you.
I'm just thinking, and these are great days for Indian actors, and everybody seems to have an agent in LA, or is thinking of doing stuff like that. I know life has taken a different direction for you, and look at the kind of meaningful work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
And you're a mother and things like that. But do you sometimes feel maybe you should have stayed in LA more, hung
Every
around?
day.
Yeah. That's an honest confession.
Because, my friends were still waiting tables when I was on series, and now they are on series. So imagine if I had clocked those 8 years or 10 years that I've been here, where I would have been, because I didn't have a second job. I didn't wait tables. I just cried when I didn't get a job. And I lived within the means of me working as an actor, because I took that very seriously. I was in acting school every single day. Every Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 to 11:30 at night. Like, I did not go out, even if we worked all day, I made it to class that evening because I wanted to be sharp with with my technique. And I was working with Oscar-winning actors is not an easy thing coming fresh off the boat from India. So I had the look, but I had to have the talent, Yeah. So I don't want to say regret, because I thank you for saying the things that I do, but I do feel bad. So the other day somebody was asking me, what do you want out of this Netflix series? I said, the main Netflix people should see it and put me in a series and buy me a one-way ticket to LA. I'm ready. My bags are packed.
No, but honestly, when you were doing as well as you were at that time, there was no diversity and inclusion. You know what I mean? There is now. So the mandatory
I was
Indian
just-
girl, the Latina, the Chinese American has come in now.
Yeah.
You got it out of your own merit or hard work,
Thank you. I was the first Indian to be in a network series when that happened. Indian from India, not American Indian or British Indian. I was the only Indian from India to be in a network series at that point. Yeah.
Lovely. So we got to round up with your training regime for the 100-kilometer ride. Are you cycling every morning for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do kilometers. So the furthest I've done is 50 kilometers, and I couldn't feel parts of my bodies.
I can imagine.
So I don't know how I'm going to do the 100, but you just Jai Hanuman, give me the strength and bike it off.
Well, friends of mine who cycle say that, some of them cycle in packs, some of them cycle alone. And the ones who cycle alone say that beyond a point, it's almost like a meditative experience. I mean,
Yes.
For somebody like you, if you're recognized, it could be hell because people will the mobs will come. But I'm saying, if you've got your helmet on, your
Helmet,
incognito,
and I have a little,
everything.
Yeah. And I leave at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So
they say that it's kind of meditative in the sense that there's a certain peace and calm after the first few kilometers. Do you feel that? I don't know. Do you do?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't realize you're going that far. And what I realized when I clocked my first 50, which I only did it once till now, is that your body can do so much and far and beyond than what you give your self credit for. There's no way in hell that if you told me, oh, you can do this, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But then now I realize, and now it gives me more ideas saying, what else can I do? What more can I do? Because one life, one body, and there is so much to explore.
What's on your phone in terms of music? What do you listen to? Telugu hits, international hits, R&B, pop, Hindi film
everything,
music.
everything. I listen to EDM. I listen to house. There are quite a few DJs that I follow and I really like. Black Coffee is one of my favorite guys. Paji is another one. Stavros. And I love dancing. Like dancing gives me. So last night my friends were home and then there is a restaurant right next door and they were playing EDM and my girlfriend was like, I want mass party. I said, baby, you look at me. I can't go ask them to change it to mass party, but every beat will do mass step. So then we got on and then it was EDM, but we were like doing kutta only. It was a lot of fun. So I listen to a lot of Tamil songs. Nothing gives me more magic than SPB and Ilayaraja sir and A.R. Rahman. And it depends when I wake up in the morning what it is, or is it James Brown, So I have an eclectic mix depending on what my mood is.
How lovely are you? All the best for the 100-kilometer run. Everybody who's watching, listen, please. The Aditya Mehta Foundation, it's supporting para athletes who are going to make this nation proud. Para-Olympians, yes. Asian medalists, and Lakshmi is cycling for that purpose. Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you very much. My honor.
Thank you. Bye-bye.